We're going to come... Oh my God, I had a thought and it just left my head. What just happened? So our fourth storyteller tonight is someone who has been on tour with us, and I'm so impressed with her as a storyteller. When she first got on stage, she was amazing, but she keeps getting better and better. She's the author of Lunatic Fringe and is currently working on the sequel to that lesbian werewolf novel.
Ow! Snout fucking.
Snout fucking.
Snouts.
Fucking-lutely, yeah. And I believe she's about to start touring and teaching workshops in the Pacific Northwest, so I suspect we're not going to have her again for a while, so you should savor it. Welcome to the stage, Allison Moon.
Woo!
You guys like my shirt?
Yeah.
I know, it's awesome. So we've been hearing a lot tonight of science geeks. Engineers, physicists, volume displacement experts. I actually would like to talk a little bit about a different kind of geek, because not all geeks are science geeks. I know. So I want to talk about a different kind of geek. This kind of geek is more apt to memorize Shakespeare's lesser-known sonnets than the periodic table of elements, for instance. This geek is not an introvert, but an extrovert, more inclined to break out in song than break out in hives. This geek can patch a light board, can counterbalance a fly, can apply age makeup and tap shoes, all while singing Big River. Yes, I am talking about the theater geek. Thank you. And yet, for all the theater geek's charms, one must pity the sad, pitiful, virgin musical theater geek.
Oh.
Because his first kiss was a stage kiss.
Oh. No.
He had to change his costumes in front of all the female co-stars while hiding his boner at the same time.
No.
I know. Everyone thinks he's gay, even his mother.
No.
Yes, the musical theater virgin. So, allow me to set the scene. Summer stock, 2002. The place? The Berkshires, Western Massachusetts. The players, Mindy, the New York City actress, haughty, more than haughty, and really kind of aggressive in kind of a creepy way. Earl, the groundskeeper at the inn, not kidding. Allison, the bisexual slutty stoner from the hippie school.
Yeah.
And people who haven't wondered or have been wondering why Reed and I are partners, that suddenly made sense to all of you, right? And then our virgin, Kevin. Kevin's blonde, blue-eyed. He sings a cappella as a tenor, and he's in a frat, and he actually majors in musical theater in Michigan. Yeah. So this story is a tale in 10 minutes or less of a boy becoming a man. And usually, it doesn't take 10 minutes. So I took this gig in the Summerstock Theater. I was a theater minor at my school, Oberlin. Anyone familiar?
Woo!
Yeah.
Hippie school.
Yeah, hippie school. So I was really used to getting hella laid. I was having tons of group sex and all these wonderful, all sorts of wonderful things. It was Oberlin. It was like art geeks. We fucked all of our friends. It was great. And so I was expecting that Summerstock, which is basically theater geek spring break, I was going to get hella laid because it was a whole new crew of people from New York, all over the country coming together to make art in the mountains in Western Massachusetts. And I'm like, there's no way. I'm not going to get hella laid. Well, it didn't necessarily go like that. So I was an intern on this production, and there's a lot of great theater that happens in the Berkshires in the summer. There's Moliere, there's Shakespeare, there's light opera, there's symphonies, there's ballet. It's great, beautiful stuff. I was not doing any of that. I was an intern on a musical review that was in the basement of a hotel dinner theater of the day's headlines. It was the kind of theater that like took La Bamba and turned it into a parody of the conflict between India and Pakistan. Yeah, classy stuff. And like this is the kind of thing where it's like we had like different like silly table names. Or like I'm sitting at the White House table. I'm sitting at the Silicon Valley table. And we had two different kinds of customers that came, two different kinds of attendees. Old New York theater queens and older New York theater Jews. That was pretty much all we had. So one day I was working the door and a woman refused to sit at her table, Palestine. Because, and this is a quote, "How can I sit at a table that doesn't exist?" Yeah, I'm like, that's what I had to work with. And so I'm like, we all started drinking a lot. Now, the good thing about this is we were staying at a place, so we were working in Lenox, which is a lovely resort town, and we were staying, the interns were staying at a ski lodge, a half an hour drive through the mountains away, in a town called Otis. And the people who lived there had bumper stickers on their cars that said, "Notice Otis." Like, not like some sort of tourist thing, it was a plea, a desperate plea. So we were staying in the ski lodge, which I'm sure was beautiful, like with a light dusting of snow, but it was the height of summer, and it felt like the hotel of The Shining, but really small. And it was called the Grouse House. Yeah, like the small bird is a grouse, right? Like a small little pheasant. But we took to calling it the Gross House, and so it was four of us, and the Gross House had a bar on the first floor, and nobody ever was there. No one ever was there. I've never seen a person step foot in the bar except for the groundskeeper, Earl, who, when he didn't have anything better to do, he would bartend for us, which was, again, a lot like The Shining with, like, the creepy bartender behind. Yeah. So Earl was like, he was sweet in kind of a creepy way, in that he would, he was the kind of character in like a horror movie where he would either be the serial killer or he'd be the person that would save you from the serial killer with like a shovel at the end, right? Like, you couldn't figure it out. So there were four of us staying there, and the first girl, actually, who I was supposed to be staying with, Danielle, she left the morning after we arrived because Earl had told her about George, the Native American ghost that lived in the Gross House. And she went back to Philly the next morning saying over her shoulder, not even like making eye contact, she went back to Philadelphia saying, "Black people don't suffer ghosts." I'm like, oh, good to know. I'm going to file that away later. Anyway, so she was eventually replaced with Mindy, this New York City actress who really thought that she was a star. She was like Carrie Bradshaw, but stretched. She wore ridiculous outfits all the time, even though we were like, again, working in like summer stock theater is bad. Again, so this was like a month of insane stress, getting drunk at the bar with Earl, and not getting laid at all. And now Kevin was the only thing with a cock within any, certain whatever. It was hard. And I'm like, and he was sweet, but he was a virgin, and I wasn't gonna go there. I'd done it before, and it sucks. No one tells you that. Everyone's like, oh, virgins, yeah. No, it sucks. I'm like, I would just rather not. I would rather not. So, but Mindy and I got along because A, we both liked drugs, and B, we were both super slutty. And these two things can cross a divide between women really quickly. So we actually really enjoyed each other. And one day I was at the Gross House on my own, and Kevin used to let me into his room to play video games. I was a big Legend of Zelda fan. And, right? Fuck, I love Legend of Zelda. Anyway, sorry, I just had to get that out. So I would go into his room and I'd just play video games. And one day I was there alone and I was playing video games, and then all of a sudden, like, Kevin comes running into the room, like, all flustered, and I didn't even think that anybody else was in the Gross House, and he's like, like, super spazzing. I'm like, I'm gonna let you go. So I went back to my room, got it. And then, like, this happened like a couple more days. He was always really edgy, and Mindy was always really frustrated. And I'm like, I think I know what's going on. But it became very clear on 4th of July weekend. We were all getting drunk. It was a very hot night, and we were in the Gross House, and there was nobody else there. And so we were all in our underwear getting drunk on the porch with sparklers. As you do. We went on a long walk, we climbed a tree in our underwear, and everybody's like, oh, we're climbing our tree in our underwear. I'm like, I went to Oberlin, this is not that exciting. So we go back to the house, one of the other interns passes out, and then the three of us, Mindy, Kevin, and I, end up in Kevin's room, and we start making out. And I could see immediately that this was a familiar pattern to them, right? They started making out, and then he like put his hand on her boob, and then she kind of like weaseled his cock out of his pants, and I'm just like watching this. I'm like, that's okay. I think I get what's going on here. And so Mindy was like obviously desperate for somebody who knew at least a little bit of what they were doing, and so I'm like, we're gonna do this. So we started making out. And obviously Kevin had never seen porn in his entire life because he was agog. Like, I mean, transfixed. And we were fooling around, and I started fingering her, and we were fucking, and it was great, and I got her to come, and then all of a sudden I hear an orgasm sound from the bed, and it's like, you know, Cupid's blazing arrow had been thrust into his... I'm like, it was like that scene in American Pie where I'm like, we didn't even touch you. Is it that bad, honey? It's that bad? Oh, God. So we keep fucking, and then Mindy turns her attention to Kevin, and at this point, I'm like, I'm not really into it, but I'm gonna go. So I went down the hall to my room, and I was listening to them fuck, and I'm like, I opened the window to my room, and it's like a nice night, and I finally had a little bit of action, and like, that's good. And I smoke a joint, and I lie on my bed, and I jack off, and as I'm starting to come, I hear down the hall, Mindy's starting to come at the same time. I'm like, yeah, and I come really hard, like a summer's worth of sexual frustration, like coming so hard. And then I get up and I grab my Velvet Goldmine DVD, which is like my porn. Glam rock bisexual boys, right? So I turn that on, and I pull back the sheets of my bed, and I see a huge silverfish lying on my sheets, and I scream, and I kind of like jump, and I hear a man's voice saying, Allison, are you okay? And he wasn't shouting. He was like, Allison, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm fine. It's just a bug. I'm like, that wasn't Kevin. And then I realized out of my window, it's Earl. And Earl is entertaining the first guests that the Gross House has seen since the summer began. There are 12 people right outside my window enjoying cocktails. And I'm thinking about the orgasm that I just had, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let it go. Summer stock, who cares? So Mindy and Kevin do not last the rest of the summer, but it's okay, no drama. It's cool. We're drama geeks, but it doesn't have to be drama-full. So I just want to leave you with this. If my words have offended, think of this and all is mended. I actually don't remember the rest of it. Wait. I'm gonna cheat. Wait.
Line.
Oh yeah, line. A theater geek is pathetic no more, once given the opportunity to enjoy a good score.